Oh wait. Did you ever see that reel I sent you?
What?
Oh, come on, please say you did. Where like this one guy, I forget his name. I wish I remember. Anwar, I think is his name. But
Okay.
he's in like TikTok and Instagram. It's hilarious, dude.
Okay.
Anyways, he has this sketch where he and his like girlfriend are walking across the street, and some guy, or like down a sidewalk, and some guy goes and tries to rip her purse away from her.
Okay.
And so he all of a sudden has this flashback of like, oh, wait a second. I remember rowing in the gym. So,
yeah. I saw that.
so he's like,
That's so stupid.
he's like,
He's like taking it back and forth.
And in the meantime,
So
I
dumb.
thought of you. And then
That's so
some guy across the street sees it like, oh, wait a second. I
Right.
can use my like jujitsu boots on.
Right.
So he's laying on the ground like,
Yeah, butt scooting.
and then there's this girl who sees it and tries to help, and she's a stripper. And so she's so she's swinging around
It's in the hole. Welcome to another episode of Don Draper's Den. On this podcast, we discuss branding and marketing and how it touches so many aspects of our lives. We also talk a bunch of trash about music and food and culture and each other and nostalgia and so much more. We hope you're entertained. We hope you can get something from us two marketing insiders. I'm Chris. This is Ernie. In this podcast, we get into the zombie apocalypse again. I think we love that theme.
We've exhausted that.
Your exorbitant use of hair products, some of our goals for the coming year, influencers and
Yes.
podcasting and all the chaos on YouTube, and tons more. So we hope you enjoy it. As always, like, share, subscribe, comment, help us blow this thing up. We're trying to spread the word, and of course, we appreciate the support. Without further ado, pour yourself a glass and let's get into this.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Bro, why is it so cold
Dude.
around you? What's your deal? I'm about
Why
to
are you wearing a scarf? It's like
'Cause it's
snowing
cold.
inside
I'm
here.
about to build a fire.
I'm sweating. I'm
That's
so
insane.
hot that like I'm hot just looking at you, dude. Like you
Ice cold. Ice cold.
you know why? Because I think I got a little bit more fat layer.
Maybe.
I got
but
the
it's
polar
like,
bear thing going on. Like you're just you need a little bit more. You need to eat a little
what's
bit more.
the temperature in here right now? Guess.
My guess is
We're going to find out after.
My guess is 68.
61.
No way, dude.
Possibly
It's hot.
53 degrees.
It's hot in here. I like it at a good 61
Why though? Why? Why?
and below.
That's crazy.
My room, if I could have it somewhere in the 40s
Shut up.
to 55, I'm happy as a clam.
When I was in college and I was living with my buddies out in Piscataway, New Jersey, shout out. It was a Cape Cod, I think is the house style. And so the A-frame, there was one room that was completed, right? And evidently if you make a room, you build a room in a house, you like make a room within the room, right? That's
Yeah.
how you do it, right? But I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I have no idea, right? And so I just got me like a 30-pack of Milwaukee's Best, some sheetrock. I'll figure it out, right? It worked. Anyways, so the A-frame is here. I put sheetrock along I put some insulation, right? But like it was open. Otherwise, there was no insulation there, right? It was like 40-something degrees one winter in my room.
Yes, that's perfect.
Had a sinus infection going.
No.
Oh, it was a disaster. It was insanity. So I've experienced that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's
No,
crazy.
see, the thing is, I'm so fortunate that my wife likes it cold as well.
Yeah, you guys love it.
We
cold.
love it cold. And so what we'll do is the house is heated up to 68 to 70.
Heated, liberal. Okay,
Right.
yeah, sure.
But
However you want to use that word.
because the birds,
Right.
they're tropical birds.
Still die.
They'll die.
Sure, right.
Right. And once you get hit below 60,
Yeah.
you got to be careful with the birds.
Right.
And then, of course, our daughter, she needs to not sleep
Sure.
in an igloo.
Needs to have the blood not turn to ice. Small
But
things.
as for us,
Yeah.
so we'll warm up the whole house, but then in our room,
Yeah.
we will put an AC unit on, turn on some fans, and even open the window if that helps, so we can make it so frigid that we can see each other's the breath that we breathe.
What's wrong with you?
And then what we'll do is we'll put a heated sheet. It's like a heated sheet.
Okay.
So underneath you, it's warm. So you're breathing in. It's just the best feeling, dude. You're warm. You're still warm, and you could adjust that temperature, right?
Yeah.
But then you could just breathe in this cold, cool air. The best triumph that we've ever had with regards to this is waking up in the morning and looking at our bedside table water, and it's being frozen. It got so low, and her and I are looking at each other like, yes,
We've won. This is it.
This is it.
Bro, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. You had the coldest house. It was summertime, and my kids ran in, and I looked at them, and they looked at me. I was like, "Yeah, it's really that cold in here. This is
You
bullshit."
know what? You gotta train them right, dude.
To do what?
You gotta train
To not be
Listen,
impacted by the weather.
Listen, you remember when we talked about one day we got to be prepared for zombie apocalypse?
Yeah.
Well, when that time comes, we're not going to have AC. We're not going to have heated
That's
units.
ridiculous.
So there's going to be times where when it's cold in the winter, we might have little, fireplace to warm our hands, but you got to get used to the cold weather. Listen, we only allow strong people into our campgrounds if the zombie apocalypse comes.
Right. So the logistics here are that you have it so cold on the off chance there's a zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Lily's ready to go.
Yes, already downstairs in our cellar, we got all our what do you call it, rations items. We got things that could allow us to survive.
Dude, what are you going to do about the heat though? If you're all about the zombie apocalypse, right, and the cold comes, it gets cold in Ohio. What about the summertime? There's no AC. There's no AC.
Yeah, right. So that's where I need to toughen up a little bit. But you know what? I'm not complaining when it gets hot. I'm only saying this because you guys always talking about how cold it is in here.
It's so
You're
cold
wearing
in here.
a scarf.
Yeah, I'm wearing a scarf. If I had gloves,
It's ridiculous, dude.
I want to.
I am so hot. I want to wear like a tank top.
That's ridiculous. It's freezing in here. It's 52 degrees in here. Anyways,
yeah.
so let's see what we did. I'm not doing any kind of year in review type thing or anything, but we've covered a lot on this podcast. I'm looking forward. We've already covered that. I'm looking forward to next year. I feel very strong. 2025. I'm fired up.
Yep.
Right. For a lot of reasons. Maybe convince you that it doesn't have to be so cold in here. One other thing, random, just for the new year, new me, kind of. Wardrobe.
Yeah.
We seem to be damn near sponsored by flannel companies at this point. So and thank you for the gift and a nice jacket. That
it looks
Ernie
good
got
on
me.
you.
Appreciate
The Dixon flannel.
Dixon is represent very
jacket.
warm.
Yeah.
Right. I like. You know what I like? There's another company too. I always see them on YouTube.
Scully or something like that.
It's like
Sullivan's
jacket in general. I'm not sure which one, but they're like, you're not a child. You don't need all these layers. But it's true.
Right.
It's true. And I like that.
Well, maybe you.
Pockets. That's good.
Maybe you.
That's good. That's a solid burn, man.
Yeah.
That's very rare. I don't get the burns back. That's very good.
Yes.
Quality burn. I walked into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want a bomber jacket. That's one. That's the other thing on my list, right? Get a black with the orange inside. You know what I mean? I think that's another one on the list. And
Bomber
maybe I need a
jackets are
pair
cool.
of dress shoes because I got my boots.
Yep.
But I'm a professional.
I will say my New Year, new style won't
Yeah.
actually come into fruition until end of February. And the reason why
Okay.
is because I'm training for my run in March.
Right.
And so I'm hoping to shed a little bit of this polar bear fat.
Yeah.
And so that then I'll be more confident in buying new clothes. Because right now, the problem is, like, I want to get some nice dress shirts.
Yeah.
But, like, I got to buy extra, I got to buy larger sizes than I'm normally used to.
Right.
To accommodate, right? But if I could hit my goal of running this race and trim down like another, all I gotta do is like 15 pounds. That's doable. Then I'll be confident to get some new shirts,
Only?
build my new style. What do you mean only?
Only? That's funny. I love the fact that you took it that way, because I genuinely was like, only seems like 15 pounds is quite a bit of weight. You know what I mean? A lot of folks would be like, damn, I got only 15 pounds? That seems like a lot. But you're like, that's only 15.
Yeah.
But the way you took it is way funny. And yeah, I meant it that way. Whatever.
Yeah, you meant that. Whatever, dude.
Good.
You know what?
That'll serve as motivation.
Yeah.
Just put my picture
That's
up in the
it.
mirror.
Yeah.
15 pounds. Work out a little
I'm
hard.
trying to get to a point where I don't wear hats as much.
Yeah.
I go back and
What's
forth.
that got to do
Listen,
with
I
your-
go back and forth with my hats. One, I wear my hats because, like, like I don't have to deal with my hairstyle every morning.
Right.
But on the other hand, I worry that, like, I need my head to breathe so I don't lose hair. I'm not like you, where I'm like, I can't wait to run to the finish line, and I'm completely bald, and I'm
Your head's
tanned
gotta-
to the point where my
Alright.
skin is leather.
Your head's
No,
gotta
I'm not
breathe.
like that.
Sure.
For me, it's like, okay, I gotta let this thing breathe so
Old breathy head. Go ahead.
so that I can keep my hair.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I'm really like, okay. It's funny. I was telling Olivia the other day, like, because I came in with no hat on,
Right.
and I'm like, I'm turning over a new leaf. And then today, I'm wearing
With a hat.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But
much for
listen,
the leaf.
I brought my stuff to do my hair because I was running out of time. But then
Fuck up. Is that the bag?
that's the bag. That's the bag.
I wondered what it was.
No, it's
That's
a
a bag of hair care.
Hair care stuff,
Equipment?
dude. Yeah, look, it's a whole process.
What's
it's
in
a
the
production.
bag, man?
Well, like, I have to do. So what I do is, once it's all washed and whatever wet,
Yeah.
then I end up usually blow drying. So I gotta blow dry.
You get it wet to dry it. Okay,
Right.
go.
Right. Well, because then I could. Yeah, exactly. And then I use a little bit of mousse. I use
How about like quarter size, pea size? What are we talking about?
now you're just you're. No, I'm not. You know what? No, I'm not.
Go ahead, man.
I'm not
If we're
walking
in.
into this. I'm not walking into
If we're- go ahead, walk
so
me
I
through
use
it.
a little mousse
Yeah.
to kind of get the hair to go in the right place.
Okay.
But then I use like a mold paste, like
Yeah.
wax. I hate you.
Like resin, like okay.
like a
I'm
mold
with you.
paste, like what's a crew? They make that crew paste.
Yeah. I mean,
So I use that because I got to get it like to chunk,
right.
and and then once I get to kind of chunk, then I use a gel to
Yeah.
keep it in place.
Damn. Three
it's-
products.
yeah, it's three
You're
products,
three
dude.
products deep. Let me get this straight. So we got wet. We get it wet
Mm-hmm.
to get it dry. Then
Well, because you got to get wet because, like, if let's say you took the shower at night or something and
Yeah.
you slept and your hair's all
like that.
well, it's
right.
hard, right? It's hard to style it if it's all all
Yeah,
over
got
the place.
cowlick
So you got to
over
wet it
here
first so
and-
that you
right.
could
Okay.
loosen it up a bit, and then you got to dry it so that you can start putting your products in.
Right. Products. Plural.
Yes, products. Yeah. Listen, real men know how to take care of their hair, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about that zombie apocalypse? You're going to be out there with your bag. Wait, guys, hold on.
Listen, I tell you what, you'll know that I'm not a zombie because my hair looks good.
'Cause zombies
you, on the
can't
other
have
hand,
hair.
you on the other hand, you'll be alive.
No.
Not a zombie, and then your hair will be like, I'll be like, oh, dude, shoot him.
Dude,
I think
I'm telling you, zombie apocalypse, it's going to be, I got one of them Rambo knives,
Yeah, yeah,
Bowie
yeah.
knives, and right in the stone in the morning, every morning, just shaving my head with the Bowie knife.
Yeah.
Just hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna look good during a zombie apocalypse. There's no confusion.
Where are you going to get the
Because there's no way you look. It's like, is he a zombie? Oh man, look at that nice hair.
It's not going to be the glint in your eye, the fact that you're
No,
coordinated.
dude. No. Yeah, that's really good hair,
so
man.
Stupid. That's the most vain shit I've ever heard. You know how I'm not a zombie, baby. I look so good because zombie have this hair. All right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad, man. I'm glad you have a whole bag. It's just product in there, by the way?
Yeah,
Comb.
I mean, there's
how many combs? One
just
comb, one
two.
brush.
One for my beard, one
Yeah.
for my... And I got a brush.
Is it what kind of
a
comb
beard
for your
brush.
beard?
It's like one of those... I forget. It smells really good, like made of good wood, but it's... You see them online all the time. It's where it's like there's a wide bristles or whatever. You call it wide teeth, and there's a thin.
Yeah.
So you got that.
Like a boar bristle? Brush?
And then we got
like
one of those like hand bristle brushes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels good.
Then you got the lotions and the stuff for your beard.
I don't do the lotions. I like the
You got to take
bristle
care
brush
of it, man.
though. That feels
good.
That's a game changer.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I had no idea, dude. That's high maintenance. I don't know about you in the zombie apocalypse, but I'm here for it. But anyways, we got there off bomber jacket. So bomber jacket, dress shoes. Got to have at least
new style for the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, people, as this week progresses here, as closer to February, I'm going to be a little bit more styling and profiling.
I'm going to look the same. Only I won't have a scarf on next time, I think. Maybe put a little space heater in here.
Do you remember the movie Grease?
Yes, only saw it a time or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like my favorite scene, one of my favorite scenes is when they're like they're in the auto body shop or whatever or mechanic shop trying to fix that junker car.
I don't remember seeing.
And then they do that dance, and then they're doing the
yeah. Is
combing their hair and stuff, and that was me. I was like, yes, I need to learn how to do.
They call his car a pussy wagon, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
I've heard that on the radio. And
well, if you listen to the whole lyrics of that thing, it's really raunchy.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, my parents, I think partly because they're immigrants, English was a second language.
They just didn't catch.
They didn't know what they're saying. And so in the meantime, I'm like this little kid, and they're like, "Oh, this is a great song," and I'm like, I'm learning all the words.
Right.
It's a real pussy wagon.
That's funny.
Grease lightning. Oh.
That's right.
Grease lightning. Oh, grease lightning. Yep. Dude.
Yeah. Man.
I miss my calling. I should have been in like musicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all that hair product.
Yeah, dude. I would have been like a star in Grease, the Asian version.
It's one of the greatest. I went on a cruise, right? My ex-wife and I, we got the kids. We go on a cruise, and it was all fine and everything. But the folks, we're still wearing masks, right?
Yeah.
So whatever year that was, 21, I guess. And so it was like masks and all this jazz on the boat, and it's kind of sucked. But anyways, there just wasn't a lot of people, naturally because of COVID, right? So the quality of the show on the boat was a little less than, wasn't A-listers. It was fine.
Right. Yeah.
But it wasn't A-listers.
Yeah.
So the best part of it was that this was, I don't know, around the Caribbean or whatever. But I guess it must have been like an all South American cast, right? Or Central American cast. And typically when you sing in English, the accent will disappear.
Like something goes away, yeah.
Right? It's almost hard to do that with an accent. You got to be trying. I couldn't do it. Was just your run-of-the-mill Broadway show tunes, right? Every single one of them. They had like an Elvis thing. They had a Freddie Mercury. Oh, it was like a rock pop kind of thing. So there's Freddie Mercury and this, that, the other.
Yeah.
Bro, the accents were it was comical. It was ridiculous. They were like rolling their R's. I was crying. But the best part was there was only like a dozen of us. You know what I mean? There was 25 of us at most. And so it's me and my family and everything like that. And then just a couple of old people on the other side. And just, it was chaos.
Yeah.
It was chaos. But like, how do you not like, why'd you do that? You know what I mean? Like Elvis didn't roll his R's. It was so weird, man. But anyways, so it was mildly entertaining to me. So What other things? So new year, new me. You're gonna run the 5K. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I'm ready for New Year. I think
Is there anything else on the list?
No.
Like real things. Like I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna do this. No, I mean it's a lot of my goals are all at this point work related.
Yeah, me
right?
too.
Driving business growth, sustainability.
Yeah.
What do we need to do in terms of marketing? I think on a professional side, I have that all figured out. Like doing more of the podcasts, more. We're going to be publishing another book here soon, so trying to make sure I land the plane on that.
Yeah. Blowing up.
Then
Dimalanta. Yep.
Yeah, and then we're doing more of the speaking circuit and going to conferences, and
yeah,
we're going to be sponsoring a healthcare event sometime soon. So just it's so hard for me to think just on a personal side when I got so many initiatives on the professional side.
Right.
But I mean, I guess in the personal side, according to last night's conversation with my wife, I got to clean the house more.
Clean it. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Clean house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Isn't it interesting how somehow in relationships, like cleaning to women like equates to love? Do you ever actually
an
like
odd love language?
Right,
yeah.
right. Like,
Right.
but why is it like,
So wait. So you mean you cleaning, or who's doing the cleaning?
Well, Hannah does a lot of the cleaning, and so
Yeah.
the point is like love for women. Why is it tends to equate to like doing something?
Yeah, the love language is the action.
Right,
Of thing. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that
right?
interesting?
Yeah.
But it's hard. What's interesting with that particular love language is that it's like never really like you never really it's like a mountain you can never really conquer.
Yeah.
You know what's that one the one Greek mythology, the guy who's punished and he has to like push the ball
Sisyphus.
push the ball up the boulder
Push
up the
boulder
hill,
up the hill,
knowing he'll
scrolls down.
never get to the top or whatever, and just he has to keep on doing it.
Yep.
That's kind of like that love language to me. It's like
Yeah.
you're just constantly pushing that boulder.
It's never gonna end.
It's never gonna end,
Laundry's gonna keep
Right.
going. It's always gonna be a
Right.
mess. Yeah.
and that's why
Yeah.
it's hard for guys sometimes. Like, because it's like, oh, dude, okay, that's true. I mean, and that's so. I think for me, going as New Year, personally, I want to love better, which means equates to, I need to push that boulder up that hill.
Yeah, that's a strong goal. I like that.
Yeah, right.
I like that. I want to love better.
Yeah,
Okay. I can dig that. I can dig that. Even if it should just manifest itself as just keeping, things a little tidier.
yeah. Being more mindful,
Yeah.
not just kind of, zombieing through the
Right.
day at home. Just being like, okay, how can I help? What can I do? See a need, meet a need.
Yeah.
So I'm really been processing that a lot.
Yeah.
But I would say that's probably my New Year's outside of the 5K and getting healthier.
Right.
Like, okay, I got to be more mindful, more aware of what's going on.
I find myself in the same boat, right? Like I got to have it clean, man. I don't know how you do.
Well, partly the thing is too is like Hannah's amazing from the standpoint of she's not like just a stay-at-home mom or something, like raising a daughter. She's running. She has two businesses that she runs. Two locations. Like, so she's doing that. So there's really I can't use the excuse that a lot of guys use. Like, I work outside there, slaving away,
damn it, all day,
bringing it home
woman.
to bacon.
Right.
All I want is to come home and just have food on the table and my laundry clean. It's like, yeah, I can't use that. Right. Because she's working longer hours, oftentimes manual labor with dogs, 2 different locations, and it's like, okay, that's a great point.
Fair point.
Checkmate. Yeah, exactly.
Checkmate.
Like she brought up, like, checkmate. Like, so love better.
Yeah. All right.
Big deal.
All right. Yeah, you could. I know. I would appreciate that too. Because I stress out when I look at your desk, bro. Sometimes I drop off the mail and I'm like, why?
Did you not see what I did though? Look.
It looks great.
Does it look a lot nicer? Do you feel the love, Chris?
Trying to go along with your theme, man.
Did you feel the love? I actually okay, I know this is going to stress him out just looking at it. See, I don't have to look at it. I'm just looking this direction.
Yeah.
But I know, so I'm like, you know what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm that way though.
Yeah,
like at home, I didn't know. You never know how weird and wild and woolly you are until somebody comes in as an objective witness, right? So I'm at my apartment, my old apartment now, a couple years back, and one of the maintenance guys comes in. And, cheap apartment, something affordable and all this. And so there's all kind of different folks in the in blue collar folks in this apartment complex, and some with kids, so it could be cumbersome. So, anyways, he walks in, and he's going to fix whatever it is he's going to fix, and he's like, "Oh, this neatest apartment I've ever seen." I didn't pay much attention, but I felt good. Like, well, thank you, bud.
Yeah,
I try to keep it clean. Then Shannon came over, my girlfriend. And she said the same thing. And then I was kind of insecure about it, I guess, because I was like, am I like a neat freak? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Is there something wrong with me?
Yes.
But no. No. Because then you know what I saw? You ever watch those like Monsters Inside of Me? You ever see that show?
Yes.
Bro. And there's like freaking maggots coming out of somebody's eyeball. And you know what I mean? There's like worms living in their foot.
Dude,
how do you keep away from that? Keep a clean house.
The more you talk, the more I think you're just not a good candidate to live in my compound when zombie apocalypse happens.
I'll keep it clean. You're not going to get
We're not
hookworm.
worrying about keeping it clean at this point.
We're not going to have lice or bed bugs. None of that.
See, I trained myself for survival. That's why I could eat stuff that's been laying out in the fridge for like a couple of days. Sure. I could deal with the mess because I have other priorities, Chris. I can see. It's too cold. That's not clean. In the meantime, some zombies like.
Wait, hold on now. Like, there's no zombies outside.
You know, I'm gonna be like, dude, zombie, Mr. Zombie, go ahead, take him.
There's no zombies at the moment. All right,
there's gonna be a time where like, hey, Chris, you gotta put this blood on you. Come on, put this zombie blood on you.
Give me the blood.
No, you'd be like,
go ahead.
Ew.
Go ahead. I don't care. I will skin a zombie and put it on like I'm all Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. I don't care. But I'm in the moment. Yeah. Right? Put me in the moment. I'm ready. Put me in, coach. But
I just see a disaster between you and I. I'm like, just put the wire fence around there. Like, what do you call that? The
barbed wire.
Just put it on. It doesn't matter how it looks. Just put it on there. Like, hold on a second.
That'll be all neat.
Has to be neat. Like, what difference does it make?
I'm like measuring it.
The zombies just came through. Oh, we're gonna be having a hard time. I'm telling you. Like,
no.
We're gonna create a faction where like we're just gonna split.
My place will be all neat and organized. Yeah. No. I'm telling you, like, see, I'm great camping. Get me in the woods.
Yeah.
I don't need to shower.
Yeah. This is the same guy who's like, oh, I don't want to eat outside in the front of the fire, smelling like smoke.
There's nothing drives me more crazy than like the wet spot on the sock. That is awful. We've talked about that.
Listen.
We've talked about that. That's insane. That's insane. I saw that one dude. He wiped it up with his sock. What kind of animal are you? What savagery am I looking at, right?
Right.
But if I'm camping, I don't give a shit. It could be blood. It could be barbecue sauce. It could be, rat pee for all I care.
Okay.
I'm putting my shoe on. We got,
So you're saying that your tolerance levels changes depending on
the situation. I'm in my nice, comfortable apartment. I'm
you know
relaxed.
what's fascinating though?
What?
So as much as we're laughing about this, you're a guy who would be willing to roll in jujitsu on this, like talk about monsters inside of me. Like what is on those mats?
Staph infection just lingering around every
and then what's the main reason why I tell you I don't want to do jujitsu?
Yeah, because you don't want to get sweated on.
No, I don't want ringworm on me.
I've never gotten it. You know, it's
so
funny.
Like it's weird. Like what contradictions? You clean freak, you're willing to roll around staph infection,
but for a higher purpose. I'll tell you what. There's no better moment.
It's obvious. There's people, sweaty people, staph infection, ringworm,
and some of them are dirty.
I'm not jumping on that. I'm just not doing it.
One of my favorite moments, if I may, for those jiu-jitsu guys out there, you're gonna know when there's the newbie, right? And they're in it, right? Because they always come in, they're like they just broke up with somebody, they're going through a divorce. They're like, dude, welcome to the team, So they're in it, but there's a moment where one of the more grisly, purple belts or brown belts among us, hardened kind of guys. Will be leaned over them, trying to maybe do something particular, right? And the beaded sweat will accumulate, and a single droplet of sweat should enter their eyeball, or maybe right in their ear. That's good. Or if it's a good one, right in your mouth. And then you look at the face of that individual who just had like this savage's sweat drip into their mouth, and there's a certain part of their soul that just evaporates. And they're like, oh God, why am I doing this? Ugh.
Now, see, listen, and I'm the same way with you, with your comment, like in the situation. Like, okay, if I went there and they're like, okay, hey, go roll, Matt, I'm going to toughen up. I'm not going to be like a wuss. I'm like, yeah, fucking, I'm rolling around.
Let's go.
Right?
Yeah.
But the whole time, like, death is like, I'm dying, dying 1,000 deaths.
Right. Yeah.
And then, like, I can just imagine, you know, that scene. I don't even know the name of the movie, but it's a Will Ferrell movie. Like when he's jumping up and playing basketball against some sweaty dude, and then like his face just rolls around their face.
Right.
Like that's just how I imagine it. Like the moment I'm like rolling around and some sweaty dude who stinks is just armpit hair and just sweat.
It's so
I was
good.
like. I was like, no. Why would I choose to do this?
You know what a great term that we call that?
Yeah.
Father's milk.
Oh,
dude,
no.
I did it to a guy last night.
See, just knowing that there's a term for this.
Grabbed his head. I was like, oh, suffering it. He's like, oh.
Yeah, see, just knowing that.
Oh, it's so good.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
So how odd is that you're such a clean freak, but you love rolling your face in somebody's sweaty armpits, dude.
I don't love it.
Sweaty armpits.
But it's part of the game.
If you're rolling around with zombies, you're done. It's over. You shouldn't be rolling around.
No,
rolling around. I would rather like do Filipino martial arts combat with weapons or learn like shooting. Rolling around, rolling around with zombies and stuff now, and you'd love it. You'd be like, "Oh yeah, just rub that shit all over my face."
That doesn't do anything. Because if you, what are you going to do? What move are you going to do? I'm not going to do any limb stuff. They're not going to tap.
Yeah,
they're zombies.
Exactly.
Right? I can't rear naked choke. I might get bit.
Right. So my point is, you're saying, but for a higher purpose. What higher purpose is to be ready for the zombie apocalypse?
Not everything
higher purpose. And you're, wait. Did you ever see that reel I sent you?
What?
Oh, come on. Please say you did. Where like this one guy, I forget his name. I wish I remember. Anwar, I think is his name. But he's in like TikTok and Instagram. It's hilarious, dude.
Okay.
Anyways, he has this sketch where he and his like girlfriend are walking across the street and some guy or like down a sidewalk and some guy goes and tries to rip her purse away from her.
Okay.
And so he all of a sudden has this flashback of like, oh, wait a second. I remember rowing in the gym. So,
yeah, I saw that.
so he's like,
that's so stupid.
He's like
taking it back and forth.
In the meantime,
so dumb.
I thought of you. And then
that's so
some guy across the street sees it like, oh, wait a second. I can use my like jujitsu moves on him. So he's laying on the ground like,
butt scooting.
And then there's this girl who sees and tries to help, and she's a stripper. And so she's swinging around the pole. So you and this whole I'm willing to roll and get sweaty with all these sweaty dudes, possible staph infection, ringworm for higher purpose,
right?
And then all you're gonna be doing is doing this with a zombie,
letting them know. Hold on, I got it. My knee hurts.
I think I just pissed off all the jiu-jitsu people. They're gonna beat the shit out of me.
It's all right. That's all right. That's all right. We're used to the abuse. It's fine.
The contradictions, though, I think it gets me.
Yeah, it really doesn't make. I mean, I haven't really thought of it like that. I hadn't really thought
like how clean you are, but yet you're willing to do that, and yet how I'm like my tolerance levels. I'm not as like stringent on with like you, and yet I wouldn't ever dare to think about rolling on a mat.
No, it really doesn't make any sense at all. That is kind of.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I think honestly, the truth of the matter is talking about the zombie apocalypse. We're both just screwed.
I'm not doing anything, man.
We're just gonna look at each other and we're gonna complain about all this stuff.
Who's gonna do it?
We're literally gonna be sitting in chairs like this, complaining about it, like grumpy old men as like a swarm.
Like, well, this
and then we're just gonna complain the whole time.
Oh well, good luck.
We're like, cheers.
Here we go. No, man, it's not gonna be us. Look, it's gonna be.
And this is the last
Marines.
episode of Don Draper.
Yeah. just consumed by this sea of zombie humanity. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's gonna be you know, the gang members and all the paramilitary and militias and those are the ones.
Oh man.
Whatever, dude. There's no zombie apocalypse coming anyway. I hate to ruin your dreams.
Yeah, but you just never know. Something's coming.
I do.
Something's coming.
I do.
EMP.
Hasn't happened yet. They don't come.
End
back.
of the world. The apocalypse.
So, back to the bomber jacket. So, yeah, we'll get ourselves some new looks. I like that little goal. Okay, love more. I'm with you there. The podcast. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun doing a podcast.
Yeah.
But it's not. Here's the thing. Think of saying that to somebody like, I don't know what, like 15 years ago, right? Or potentially a little bit longer than that, but it's not that long ago where like, you're going to do a what? You know what I mean? A podcast. Like what's that? You know, who's going to listen to it?
Yeah.
How are you going to get it out there? What, you know what I mean? Like what impact is that going to have? And then flash ahead now. Who's even watching CNN or, you know, or anything else like that, right?
Yeah.
All that, like, dude, it's the biggest thing in the world. And like the whole influencer thing in general is so incredibly massive, yet just a blink of time ago, it wasn't a thing. I mean, I guess you had, by way of influence, you got like celebrities that were kind of influencing, you know, like using their celebrity to like push a product.
Yeah.
And that's not anything new.
No.
But what it is now, and if you ask a kid, you know, a 13-year-old kid right now, like, you know, they could say, I want to be an influencer. Well, what are you going to make though? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird. You know, it's like they're just printing money. It never would have seen it coming.
No. Not in a million years. I don't think I ever would have seen it coming.
Yeah.
I think it's a really fun time. It's scary times though, you know, but I think it's fun time because, you know, because I say scary because the whole podcast and doing this, you know, and this being one of our goals and things for the year, it's sort of like Wild Wild West. You don't really know what to expect.
Right.
As a podcaster and as somebody who views podcasts, like you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know how legitimate anything is, factual, nothing, but it's just like, it's the Wild Wild West. On the other hand, it's exciting because you get this authenticity, right? It's
huge
things
factor now, man.
A lot more, just that, you know, deep rooted type, grassroots, organic type, experience, accessibility, you know. Now, what was the other day? I was watching some wrestlers, the Undertaker and who was the other guy? It'll help me, but he was on he has a podcast apparently,
right?
And you know, these are guys that like, dude, I was like mimicking their moves, watching them on WWF, and then now I get insider scoop. Like all the stories, and they're talking about this. You know, Undertaker was talking about this experience with like some of the other wrestlers, and even playing how they play card games or whatever. You know, in the back and the fun that they had, or what have you. You know, it's like that's stuff you don't get, and it's not as easily accessible when big media. You know,
and they you know, and they're only booking the very biggest of the biggest of the big, and then they've got all these crafted questions, and I get on one side when I don't know the Tom Brokaws of the world or whoever, you know what I mean, some bigwig like this, like they set up interviews in a particular way, but like I didn't go through journalism school or anything like it, so I would imagine that they must have been following some, you know, some preordained ideas, templates that worked, and this is how you do an interview, and this is how you set up a shot, and this is how you do this, that, and the other. Right? Well, that's kind of stale, and only the cream of the crop gets to it, and it takes generally a whole hell of a lot of money you know, to get through that door. And then when you get through the door, there's a bunch of gatekeepers and all this, right?
Right.
So,
And then money drives the narrative sometimes.
and they're
Right.
pushing a product, right? Maybe they
Well,
got a movie they're pushing.
Right,
or
because
whatever.
if you don't push this narrative, you don't push the, you know, then we might pull our funding or what have you.
And so you got to act a particular way, hence the self-censoring, which leads to inauthentic kind of interactions.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then that's kind of that old model, which I guess it had its place, but God, isn't much more interesting. Like, I didn't know that archery was interesting. I don't care about it, right?
Right.
Then I listened to a Rogan episode, right? Only one of the biggest freaking things on planet Earth, right? To the tune of like hundreds of millions of people have listened to the guy's
Right.
stuff at this point. But I listened to one of his podcasts with the archer dude, and I'm like, all right, bow and arrows, okay, cool. But like, and what? What do I have to learn about this? I don't get it.
Yeah.
The insights that person, or now there's so many, but the whatever it was that I listened to first, I'm like, huh, I never had that perspective, on the actual topic of archery. I didn't care. But then maybe they have insights as to how they mastered their craft. I can take some of those insights,
Right.
and I'm not going to go be a bow hunter or anything like that, right? Or even shoot a bow and arrow, but that applies to this.
Right.
I
There's
wouldn't have-
applications that could apply to different things, right?
And the thing is that I wouldn't have had that insight if the old model of, you know, as the gatekeeper and you're going on maybe not a Letterman per se, but like you're going on a big time thing.
Yeah.
Man, unless it's like 60 minutes doing a deep dive into you, but then you've got to be one in a million.
Yeah.
Right? You're like an Olympian who did this and blah, blah, blah. And you can't just hear from the regular guy.
Right.
So who's going to be authentic and maybe not quite as polished.
Right.
But it's going to have a cool story. So,
Yeah, I mean, think about like in the 1950s, 60s, right, when they had like black and white TVs and only like three major networks.
Yeah, right.
Like your consumption of knowledge or entertainment is dictated by what those producers determine is interesting.
right.
Right.
Also
Where
true.
now
You can determine.
you could determine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm interested in what these Undertaker has to say in WWF sometimes,
Right.
because that was a childhood, you know, wrestler that I followed.
Yeah.
I love watching the Kelseys. The Kelseys are phenomenal but mine is different, right? Because they're Clevelanders. I love Cleveland, so I'm going to support Cleveland.
Yeah.
Right. Other people, they like him because Travis Kelce is, you know, dating Taylor Swift. Right.
Yeah.
It's just you could enter into and be interested in these different topics for different reasons, completely different reasons, and yet still find entertainment or knowledge or application from it. I mean, the wave of influencers, podcasters, YouTube experts. I mean, it's phenomenal.
It's endless.
And I remember like years ago asking one of my ex former brother-in-laws, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You know, because he used to live with me, and he's like, I'm just watching YouTube. I'm like, what does that mean, actually? Like, are you learning how to make something?
Right.
And that was a time when, like, you could still easily just, you know, everybody had, like, a cable, right? That was just, and then now it's like, I don't even have cable. I just, you know.
No.
I just, I go YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Right. Yeah.
Look at my Facebook stuff, Netflix, you know.
Yeah, direct to source. So what is fascinating is the fact that I could go back to Rogan because it's such a fixture, right? But there are so many others, right? But it's fascinating to me when I hear that a personality like Rogan, like people are like, oh, he's a comedian. He's been a comedian for 30 years, you know? Or, oh, he does the fight thing?
Yeah.
He's been in the fight game for like 20-some years.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You know, like, it's interesting to see, like you're saying, what is gleaned from that podcast and then how you know that individual.
Right.
I like the idea that an influencer, which I don't know if I really like the term influencer, because if you're gonna like from a kid's perspective, right, and maybe I'm just an old man like that, But if somebody was to be like, hey, I'm going to be an influencer, I'd be like, well, that seems like a shallow, empty, vapid, that's a non-job.
Right.
Right.
It's a
you're just like, just like in the
Yeah.
finance business, right?
Yeah.
Where I some of us look at hedge fund manager types or people of that ilk where it's like, you're really just moving money around and taking a piece on the way.
Yeah.
Right. You're not making anything. Right. So in that way, I look at it and I'm like, I don't really think that's a thing to be. But, what am I? I don't know. Who am I?
Yeah.
But for those that kind of maybe you organically grow into the role of an influencer, right? It seems like they usually, the ones that really move the needle have like these at least 2, 3, 5, 6 angles, where it's like, oh, I didn't know he was a comedian. I just listened to it for such and such reason.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because then it's like, maybe they've mastered multiple crafts or something, you know what I mean? Or they just ask really good questions, or they've got experiences that are 1 in a billion and they can tell stories, so it's interesting to see if you're going to be an influencer. I am of the opinion, or at least maybe the influencers that I'm like, have got multiple angles where you can kind of get into them.
Yeah.
Right. Because otherwise it just seems like I've seen some where you're just like,
yeah, but
what are
it's
you?
not even just that though. I mean, yeah, maybe from the Gen X type perspective, we think of it that way.
Right.
But the more I embrace it and the reels that I watch now, I mean, there's some really funny people. I have no clue who they are because they just do these skits.
Right.
And I sit there and I could do there like for 10, 15
Forever.
minutes just watching all their stuff, giggling and laughing and be like, oh, Hannah, you got to see this. Is hilarious. And it has nothing to do with anything except it just makes me happy and laughing. Like the guy was saying that that did that skit.
Right.
He's so funny. I have no clue. I don't even know. He could be like a astrophysicist for all I know.
Or just working at Target. Who knows? Right. But that's hilarious.
Yeah, but that's hilarious, right?
Yeah.
And again, that's how you get your entertainment. So that's what the influencer is interesting to me from the standpoint of like, there's some people, they're not like influencing, they're just like entertaining.
Yeah.
But I think influencing from the standpoint of marketing, because they have influence on a particular demographic.
Right.
Oftentimes.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure there's outliers to everything there.
Yeah.
But I love watching, dance reels from dancers.
Right.
My thing, I joke around is like, I love like what do you call that? The Ice Cube dance and
Crip walking?
Yeah, crip walking. Dude, if I see someone crip walking, I'll stop. I'm like, I gotta see this. This is so cool.
That one with
that's
the
another one of my
construction
New Year
worker?
things. Dude, I'm gonna be a crip walker.
What? I mean, it's kind of a gang thing, man. I don't know if you want to say that publicly, but all right. So you just got to get
I just got to get my feet
feet
working,
down.
Which is why, that's another reason why I'm doing my running thing.
Okay.
Because I'm having a hard time with my crip walking because I got too much weight to carry and my knees are hurting. So I figure if I could improve on that, I get leaner, I get more nimble, that I could be able to.
Dude, can that be an end of year challenge? Can that be
yes, please. I need that.
Wow.
I need that motivation.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Did you ever see Two Bears, One Cave, Bert Kreischer, and Tom Segura?
No, I know who you're talking about, but no, I didn't see that.
They had.
Is that a special?
It's a no. It's a podcast. Two Bears.
Oh,
One
that's
Cave.
the name of the. Oh, then yes, I have. I do watch them occasionally.
But they years ago now. I think Bert did. He claimed that he was a real good dancer. Right. And so, of course, they're, talking shit on each other. And so he put together like a real quick, fairly simple little video where he's doing his dance. Maybe he had a move or two, but whatever. And he worked with a professional dancer to craft a routine. Not to be outdone. Tom Segura, his buddy, is like, cool, but check this out. And he hires somebody who kind of had the inside track to these two, and their bullshit. And he gets some dancers, and it's like a whole production, right? So what I like is that they're blowing. I think Tom Segura spent like $30,000 on this, right? But the amount of like the entertainment factor, right? You couldn't have done that back in the day. right? That they get to kind of share in that. And like, I guess they're influencers and all that, but what a brilliant marketing idea, right? It's like unhinged, man. You can do what you want.
Yeah. A lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
Right.
If you have an idea, you too can manifest this, right?
Yeah.
Luckily for them, they do have, extra cash, right? They're
They have a
wealthy
team
guys.
of experts
Right.
helping and all
Yeah,
that
and they have
stuff.
resource they can. But I love the fact that you can have an idea, no matter how crazy, and manifest it into reality, and it just might take off.
Yeah.
It might make a little viral moment. That's cool, and we didn't have that back in the day, and back in the day is only like 10 to 15 years ago. It just wasn't like that.
Yeah, it just wasn't like that.
No.
I think when I think of influencers back in the day, right, you had like Oprah Winfrey,
Yes.
right? She says she tells people the product she uses, and boom,
Right.
overnight, right?
Right.
Now you don't need that platform to
Or
be an influencer. I mean, you do need a critical mass of followers,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
you can't survive on just like 100 followers,
followers, yeah.
right? You need to be influencing millions, but there's so many ways to get to that point. The other day I was consumed by watching this one Asian beatboxer guy that like he could imitate any sound effect, and they just go nuts. Basically, the reel is set up like this, where there's a bunch of like his friends around him, and they test him. They unzip a bag or something, and then he does it. He mimics it like completely, and then everybody goes nuts. Yeah, dude, his like 40 million followers.
Right.
I have no clue anything about this guy's backstory, nothing, except that he is like really talented when it comes to sound effects and beatboxing.
All right, compare that, because if there's that one guy, right, there's got to be 100, right, and good for them. I hope they make money. But if it's 1980 whatever, there was that one guy from Police Academy, right? That one black dude who could like do a bunch of cool sounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
game over.
right? And we all knew his name.
Yep.
But there wasn't another one.
Yeah. Could
right?
you imagine if he had,
It would have blown up.
an Instagram, TikTok page?
It would blow up.
He'd have blown up.
Yeah.
Right. You know what's
Yeah.
funny is that when I was in college, I was in like an apartment, like a quad apartment with a bunch of guys and stuff, and they were hilarious. We always had made up games, always had fun. You know what college kids do. Well, we had a little handy cam, and for whatever reason, we were just like, hey, let's just have fun with this handy cam. I mean, we did all these skits. We did all these like, I did this whole Godzilla skit. Like I was this Asian. I wore like, I put this like,
Jesus
headband.
Christ, it's so
Like-
racist.
I'm like, oh, Godzilla's coming.
Oh no. Why?
But we just had so much fun.
Yeah.
And
sure.
but we had no platform to put it on. There was no we didn't have YouTube, nothing.
Right.
We just like watched it ourselves and laughed at ourselves
Right.
making these stupid skits. Now and I occasionally I think about what if like we were onto something and we didn't even know it.
Yeah. You know what? I have similar experience too. Like my old band, Philip said, shout out. Like we had similar things, make up games and all these kinds of fun things that it was fun to be around us as a band.
Yeah.
Because when we were, post show or just after practice, like we were always doing something fun.
Yeah.
But I'm with you 100%. And we had a website.
Yeah.
For our band.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to us to like tape one of our interviews or our discussions.
Right.
Right. A la the podcast. It never occurred to us to put these things online. And I'm thinking back, like one of the guys is, a executive TV producer who's amazing. Right. Another in the music business. Amazing. Like we all have these talents and I'm like, damn, dude.
Right.
If
So
that was
many
us
things.
today, we'd be killing it right
You'd be
now.
killing it right now, right? That's why I don't look down on especially the younger generation when they pursue that type of dream, because it's definitely possible now.
Right.
And as a marketer, there's opportunities, because if they're going to be able to attract that demographic to them, and we're trying to promote a product to that same demographic, well, hey, more power to you. If you're entertaining enough, intelligent enough, or whatever your little skit is,
Right.
to attract that many followers, well, sure, we're gonna pay you to promote this product. How much?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just is how it's how we consume information now. I don't remember the last time I sat and turned on. The only time I've ever turned on like a a TV guide to just because I have to stay within that, like what's on at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Is when I'm at a hotel and like their TV doesn't have the Netflix capability or something like that. I'm like, okay, let's skim through. Oh, cool.
Go old school with
right.
it. Yeah.
But it sucks because you're like, well, I don't want to watch any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing here is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea
that's
that
when I pull out my phone. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit there and look at funny reels.
Yeah. Yeah. Cat videos on YouTube.
Hey, there's some funny cat videos, dude.
God, they're so good. They're so good. I just want
who are some of your main influencers that you enjoy?
So I like a lot in the Rogan circle, right? So
Me too,
Theo Vaughn and Theo Vaughn, Jordan Peterson.
I don't watch too much Jordan Peterson. Occasionally he'll pop up.
I like him for the nuggets of some of the thoughts that he his philosophy on things. And then I like political news, so I try to go as extreme as I can, within reason, I guess I should say, so that I can get the whole story.
Yeah,
so you go really far left and really far right, and you're like, all right, that guy's saying this. This guy's like Kyle Kalinske, right? He's hilarious. First of all, I like how he brings the story because he's like cursing the whole time, and he's kind of calling bullshit as he vapes, from his bunker or wherever he is, and but he's pretty left. And so on the other side, go like Ben Shapiro or something like that. You look at the same story, and man, that dude's pretty far right, and all this. So it's interesting to see that perspective, those perspectives, and like help me make a reasonable decision on, all right, I think we fall here in the middle. Right. This seems to be the most true. Yeah. So for those kinds of things, politics, world events, and perspectives, I like finding people that are notably like, yeah, I'm on the left.
Yeah.
Right. Or this is my stance. Yeah. This is how I see it. And then knowing that, that's informative to me. I can kind of take that information and be like, okay, I know the source. I understand. Back in the day, wasn't like that.
No.
Tom Brokaw?
No.
I don't know what his stance. Like, do you believe what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right. Again, that gets to the authenticity. But
so do you typically, a lot of stuff you're consuming is like intellectual, political, or do you ever sit and just follow people who are just hilarious and a lot of nonsensical shenanigans?
You know what? I like, there's a lot more informational. I like the guy who, I can't remember the names, but there's one who does morbid facts. He's got a mustache, right? Morbid fact 365. And it's just like, they didn't find the body in 1978 until like 5 years later and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just morbid like that. Yeah. And then other ones are like the map guy. I can't remember the guy's name either. But it's all dedicated to maps, right? And that's world changing because you're like, an easy one is like,
is this a guy who talks about like how the borders of the states came about and things like that?
Yeah. That's on the menu as well. Yeah. Right. But some other ones are like size comparison to where they superimpose.
Yeah. Look at
Texas.
England compared to America.
Yeah. And it's like staggered. Like Japan was one where I'm like, okay, islands of Japan. Got it. But then it's like, no. Take Japan and put it over Europe. And you're like, Jesus Christ. That's huge. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then the topography of things, but most of the time it's nuggets of like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's pretty cool. And historical stuff, that tends to be what it is. Or off the deep end cat videos where it's just cute.
Yeah. So it's like either extremes.
Yeah.
I think mine, I tend to, something that'll make me laugh or just interesting or fun is really the goal for me. I mean, I do like Joe Rogan. But if I were to choose, I'd prefer like the New Heights, the Kelsey brothers, because they're just funny. Yeah, and I love football. Yep. My number one, I think, influencer I follow is Quincy Carrier. He analyzes the Browns, but he does it in a way that I feel like is very authentic, genuine. Like I feel like he's just a guy that that I can talk to and have a drink with. But yet he gives really good, solid insights on the team.
Right.
That I feel because of that, like he has nothing. The team's not paying him. There's nobody. ESPN's not paying him. He's really looking at it, a very honest look at evaluating their gameplay or their off season or whatever. So I would say if I spend the most time, it's probably Quincy Carrier stuff, and then the rest of the stuff is like just hilarious things. Like I'd watch crip walking all day long, and or I like how-to videos because I do like to educate myself.
Yeah.
You know, like right now I do watch a lot of like welding videos because I have this other goal. I keep forgetting all my goals that if I put in like 100 hours or something, I won't buy a welding machine until I put 100 hours of YouTube videos.
That's right. Okay. Right.
Right. But other than that, so if it's not self-help, it's just funny stuff, you know. What are a couple other ones? I mean,
You ever see the guy with the schmear? He's like an outrageously Italian guy. It's like selfie style.
Yeah.
But he does shorts, maybe other videos too, where he's like talking about how you apply cream cheese to a bagel. Mm-hmm. And you got to respect the schmear.
Yeah, no.
Oh, gets me every time.
Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to think of like other things I watch. I mean, like, I mean, now there's that Jason Kelsey's wife.
Okay.
She's like killing it apparently. Hers is like growing faster than Joe Rogan's in terms of viewership or something like that. It's crazy.
That's bananas.
Like, yeah. But
what could she be even talking about? I got to find out what she's all about.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested too to see what it is that. Well, I do know she had a was it an Amazon special that she did with her husband?
Okay.
Who was seemingly going to retire in like a year, so they followed him during his last season. I think he ended up going another season, but it was just a football player for Philadelphia Eagles, Jason Kelsey, and apparently they kind of basically followed him and his wife around and kids, showing like the behind the scenes and take a very intimate look at like what a high caliber NFL football player goes through, especially towards the end of their career when like your body's aching and the thought and the conversations that go into like, is this my last year? I think he ended up going another year, but in so doing that, people, one of the things that the side stories is people got to get to know his wife, and she ended up she's a wonderful wife, wonderful mother, funny, and end up like just warming the hearts of many viewers. And then you add that along with her involvement in the podcast and the relationship drama there, you know, just dynamics there.
Right.
And then I'm sure Taylor Swift and the Swifties, you know, following, you know, dating Travis Kelce, like the whole thing just like blew up, and I think that's how she became kind of successful. But I like Mr. Beast stuff. Like I think his stuff is
fun,
fascinating, and just like I'm just compelled all the time, like in awe, like how he makes this much money to be able to just give out all this money, you know. So he obviously, I watched a few videos on how he did it and how in earlier years he and other like prospective influencers studied algorithms and try to understand how this thing worked, and they leveraged that, and they made that a full-time job, basically studying how the algorithms work so that they could leverage it in order to become influencers that they are now. So I watched some of that stuff, and just a whole lot of funny stuff, comedic stuff.
It's amazing how funny we all are, man. Like,
well, you know, that's interesting because you're right. Like it's just, you can't take yourself too seriously. And when you just look at people, like, it's just funny. Even the serious stuff, it's just funny stuff. Like, how did you get into, or fascinating maybe is a better word. How did you get into that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Like, we're just, like, it's just, people are interesting.
Right.
And what's crazy is like, there's something for everybody. It's like that there's a flavor for everybody, you know?
I would say as we close things out, right, that the risk too is the bubble, right? Because you can have, it's hard to listen to people with like opinions you don't agree with, or not necessarily things that aren't interesting. Like if you're not into French poetry from the 1600s, like you don't have to watch it, but you can end up in these bubbles. right? And it's like a big echo chamber. That's kind of the other side of things too. You know what I mean? Where you're so isolated and the only thing you consume is this stuff that reinforces your beliefs, and you're just so crystallized and just shut off, you know, from opposition, that it's like, that's not real life, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, if you're in a room with people, they're going to have different opinions. You know what I mean? And that's okay. And you should be able to learn stuff from everybody. So yeah, I find that, I think that's the one danger, but by and large, just bring the cat videos, man. It makes my day better. You know?
2 shout outs of influencers that I really enjoy watching is, have you ever watched the Gen X Talks? There's the son always goes to his dad, and he's
like a bigger guy, like a bearded guy, or something
the dad.
like that. The dad,
but
right?
the son comes up and he's
yeah.
always, welcome to the Gen X Talks. Let's go see what the Gen X thinks about
and he's
this
like working
or whatever.
in a tool shed. Or
And he asks his dad, and his dad's always like, "Why do you always bother me with this stupid shit?"
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, yes, I can relate, dude. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And then another one is Josh from England. Love his stuff. He's the guy who he is from England, but he loves visiting America. So he always he gives a really interesting, entertaining insight on just like on America, but from a British lens.
I like those, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really good. I really enjoy that because it's like, you know, again, you could kind of lose sight, like we're just in America, and you know it's easy for us to think that we are the best, but no, there's other people out there who have other insights, and it's nice to listen to him because he's not like jaded to America. He actually enjoys it, but he gives a good perspective and entertaining perspective.
Helps to appreciate what it is. Along those lines is these 2 guys lost in Vegas. 2 cats that like they're hip hop heads. Right. And I guess they're about our age. But they're hip hop heads. So they grow up, removed black cats from not the culture of rock and roll, right, and heavy metal. And now, right, I've been following them for years. Their reactions to like Dio and Megadeth and all these stuff. I grew up on this.
Yeah.
But I forget, you know, like I remember, I know that it means a lot to me, but my first time hearing that Megadeth Rust in Peace record was a long time ago. Right? That was 30 years ago. And to see them react to it, I think that famous video that they had kind of blew them up. It fired me up. I was like, you're right. That was a really good record. And for it to like hit them, totally removed from rock culture. They did not grow up with that. They were hip hop heads for sure. And to hear them now, they're like huge Sabbath fans. They love Black Sabbath.
Oh yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh yeah, that is good. You know, it's like a rediscovery for me. Yeah. You know, so I agree with you, man. It's like a cool way to have other like outside perspective, like rejuvenate, like, yeah, this is good. You know, whether it's in America or the music you like or the movies, like, yeah. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's really neat. Really good. You know, I think that influencers and this way we consume media is here to stay. Fact. I think marketers, you know, and it's already happening. It's not like this is anything new, but like realize and understand and the importance of leveraging that medium in order to promote products or services. It's just here to stay, and the more we embrace it, the more we understand it, I think the more we'll appreciate it. Yeah, you know, and that's going to happen because eventually, you know, Gen Xers are going to get older, and then the new Gen Alphas are going to have their own thing, and and we're all going to be plugged into this supercomputer.
Not me, bro. Not me.
And I'll be the first one.
Faded bomber jacket, prepping with you, I guess, for the zombies that never come. Your hair is going to look fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's our lives, man. That's our lives. Yep. All right. I think that about does it. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. With that, let's get out of here. So, from the iconic era of advertising to the digital age, I'm Chris.
And I'm Ernie.
Keep it legendary.